Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s message can be heard everywhere.
His words changed the nation.
And though you might not know where the words came from,
you can feel the truth behind them.
We're now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We're confronted with the fierce urgency of now.
The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. called us all to service.
Opportunities to serve those in need are all around you.
And every time you volunteer to read to a child, serve a hearty meal, or clean up a park in your comunidad, his message becomes a reality.
This January is your chance to let MLK's word inspire you to action.
Learn how you can volunteer for a better tomorrow on MLK Day at AmeriCorps.gov/MLK Day.
There are up to 10 million people in the Los Angeles County area that are seeing some version of what's on your screen right now, whether it's from a distance, whether it is the smoke, whether it is the smell, whether it is the warning that they too are going to have to leave. This is a crisis of epic proportions that is growing by the minute. And in the next 2 hours, the wind gusts in the LA area are expected to reach upwards of 100 miles an hour through until 5 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. The embers that are blowing are the big evil problem. They are sparking up fires from rooftop to rooftop, from community to community. They are jumping the roadways, and there aren't enough firefighters in the state of California to be able to get this under control in time before the kind of damage that it is bound to do. The damage already, we can't even tell you because most people don't even know if they've lost their homes. What we can tell you is that 30,000 people were told to evacuate immediately. The Palisades area, that's about 20 miles to the west of Los Angeles and the city, the downtown area of the city. But Palisades is just one terrible spot. Things are moving towards Malibu. They're moving northwards towards Calabasas. There are some terrible scenes that have been playing out, especially with these winds and with the evacuations. The evacuations have been so clogged. Usually these are single roadways. Let me get out to Nancy Liu right away. My Lord, that image of you. Nancy, tell me where you are, what you're seeing right away.
Ashleigh, we're along Pacific Coast Highway, PCH. We're just south of Temescal Canyon Road, and this is a brush fire behind me, and there's really like no fire attention from firefighters right now because they are so busy focused on residential areas. So a lot of these brush areas are just being allowed to burn and burn themselves out. But I can tell you that the winds picking up, the gusts are really strong at times. I mean, they are enough to like knock you over. And Ashleigh, those flying embers that you mentioned, I don't know if, of course there are none flying right now, but there's some flying across the street here. And I can tell you that the embers have actually caused some brush fires on the other side of PCH next to the Pacific Ocean. So from time to time, we're seeing, little spot fires in the brush next to the ocean. So just a really dynamic situation out here because things are changing by the minute. But yeah, we see people coming out here to look at, this fire that has jumped the PCH in some parts. Unfortunately, in this part of Pacific Palisades, there are no residential homes on that side. They are all on the other side of this brush, and that's where firefighters are focused. Earlier, Ashleigh, we were near a number of homes, just watching them burn. It was just heartbreaking to watch, Ashleigh, and just, as things were happening, we had to keep retreating. The situation just became more dangerous, and we chose to evacuate along with everyone else. But now, Ashleigh, we are next to the Pacific Ocean. Oh, let's pan over now because I can show you some of these embers. You can see them flying down the street. And Ashleigh, it's windy out here, and when it gusts, it's enough to like move a large truck. And it almost like took the door off when I opened the door to get out of the truck. So just, and I know a number of people on the air have used the word apocalyptic, and really there's no other word to use tonight. It is that bad. And I've covered many, many disasters, typhoons and hurricanes and tornadoes, and I've covered many wildfires. Nothing like this that has moved this fast and that has grown this fast. I mean, you mentioned earlier, Ashleigh, how it like doubled in size in a matter of hours. It is now probably about 3,000 acres, and it is still moving, Ashleigh, out of control.
Yeah, last count, Nancy, 2,921 acres, and that was doubled in just a couple of hours. So I think even now, since it's been about 20 minutes or 30 minutes since we got that statistic, I'm sure that it has consumed even more. But Nancy, your description was so incredibly matched by the images that your photographer just showed us of the embers blowing across the Pacific Coast Highway. We could even see those mini fires that you said were sparking up in the distance because of those embers, which leads me to a very important question. I know you've answered this a few times throughout your coverage, but a lot of our viewers want to know if you are safe and you have an evacuation route yourself, because honestly, it just looks like you're right in the middle of the hellscape.
Yes. Right. And I do want to emphasize that, yes, we do have an escape route planned. We are right next to the Pacific Ocean, so we are going to zip down PCH if and when we feel in danger. But we are near fire crews. We are playing it safe, but I thank everyone for their concern. But it is important to bring you, the latest on the situation and how many areas are threatened. And, this situation that is changing by the minute, and this is why the fire keeps moving and spreading. It's because, these conditions are just ripe. It's dry out here, Ashleigh. We're near drought conditions again. We've had no rain. The brush is so dry, and here comes another gust, which practically knocks me over, and it's blowing more embers our way. So, yeah, things are changing by the minute, and I can definitely feel a change in the winds, Ashleigh.
Yeah, Nancy, it's almost as if right on cue.
Evacuate a bit further south.
Yeah, you should get going. Get going, because right at 10 o'clock, that's when we were told that the gusts were going to start hitting, upwards of 100 miles an hour. So you guys get to safety, please. Thank you for this remarkably brave reporting. Nancy and her crew are going to get to a safer location. I can't stress enough just how dynamic this is for our teams who are out there, the KTLA teams who are providing a lot of the coverage for us, and our NewsNation crews, Nancy and her photographer. They have moved several times today. They are obviously under the guise of the fire teams that have helped them to understand where they can and can't be, and they are very knowledgeable about the area. They live there, so they know what they're talking about when they say they've got an egress route. Areas of the Pacific Coast Highway where Nancy's reporting from right now are shut down, but Nancy is in an area that's not. So she can get out if she needs to be. Plus, she's got a press pass, which means that she can navigate certain areas that might be closed as well for emergency reporting for the good of the public. Also, just want to let you know that every single Los Angeles County firefighter has been called into service. Everybody who's off, everybody who's on, and I dare say it won't be just Los Angeles. It'll be surrounding communities. It'll be surrounding states who immediately jump in their vehicles. It happened on 9/11. They came from everywhere. It happens when there's a crisis and an emergency like this and lives are at stake. But there will be a number of reporting first responders who will be coming into this area. Of course, they don't know the area if they're coming in from out of state. So the coordination is also a very difficult task to make sure that responding crews themselves are safe. It is not out of the ordinary for fire crews to become encircled as well. So this is a very dangerous business. I want to bring in someone who can help me understand one of the other crises that's been developing. That's the Getty Museum, which has been reportedly close to flames, on fire, or at least extremely threatened. Keaton Osborne lives in Santa Monica, went to get his mom, who lives directly behind the Getty Museum. Keaton, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Keaton, thank you so much for helping me to navigate the situation. First of all, were you able to get your mom? Are you guys all safe?
Yeah, that's pretty devastating footage that you're showing. When I woke up this morning, it was around 200 acres. It wasn't out of control, and within a few hour period, it was close to 1,000, and now you're saying it's almost 3,000. So it's spread pretty rapidly. I lived through the Malibu fires in 2017, and I got to witness that pretty close, just like I did today. And I could tell you today is a lot worse in terms of the wind and the conditions, and it's pretty devastating. But yeah, I was able to get my mom out safe, and I hope everyone else in the area was able to do the same.
What'd you witness as you were evacuating? What could you see around you?
Yeah, so I got to Malibu around 12:30. Sorry, I should say Palisades, around 12:30. And it was, just a plume of smoke. I mean, you couldn't really see too much fire. And then within the hour, there were flames moving down the hill. And within an hour after that, the entire neighborhood was engulfed. And, you couldn't see the sky, let alone 20 feet in front of you. And, they got to a point where it was, a little too dangerous for me to be there. And that's when I left. I heard some of the fire engines ringing out their alarms. And on my way out, I was able to capture, a video of a few homes on fire. But, just from those, 5 minutes of driving down the hill, I witnessed, at least 10 homes on fire. I saw the Getty, the trees around the Getty property were catching on fire, and that's a pretty high protected zone. So it was pretty shocking to see that.
And we're seeing some of the video, Keaton, that you shot today as you were getting your mom out of there. Does she have any idea if her home is okay at this point?
Yeah, no. It's looking grim. The fire was moving down the hill, and then as I, left and was driving, sort of further down the hill, it seemed to have kind of skipped over my area and gone further down. So it was sort of a pincher thing going on with the fire, and it's definitely not looking great. But I hold hopes with the Getty being so close, because I know that is a high value target for the firemen. They have some firemen stationed there, during the day, just in case any brush fires pop up. So I am holding some hope that that can maybe allow us to not have our home gone when we come back and this is all over.
Well, I am so sorry, Keaton, that you and your family are going through this. I know that you tried to hose down your mom's house before you left. Hopefully that will do something. Hopefully firefighters will be able to get to people, and then get to structures in that order, and that your mom's place will be okay. I really appreciate you talking to us, Keaton, and God bless. And I'm wishing you all the best luck.
Thank you. I hope everyone's okay, and I want to thank all the firemen.
Right, no kidding. Keaton Osborne, your lips to God's ears. Those firefighters are working so hard and taking on such risk right now. I just wanted to let you know that Keaton was talking about the Getty Museum, which is close to his mom's house. He could see the palm trees on fire around the Getty. The famous pieces of art that are there, Van Gogh's Irises, Manet's Spring, Rembrandt's Laughing, while that sounds terrible that those incredible pieces are there, I will tell you there's a slim glimmer of hope there, and that is that this is one of the safest places for the art because there's over 1 million square feet of travertine, which is a sedimentary rock that is been sort of formulated into this very durable tile. Crushed stone covers the roof. There's advanced smoke evacuation systems there. The Getty says that they can pressurize the building to shut off the outside air and remove smoke from inside. So let's just all hope that, the contents of the Getty Museum will be okay given these incredible features that the museum has, and that is as long as that fire doesn't engulf the building itself. I want to just find out if May Durkin is with us. I know that May Durkin is 15 years old, and she evacuated today at 1 o'clock to Sherman Oaks. May, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
May, I just want to let our viewers know your parents have said it's okay for you to do this this television report, right? Everything's on the up and up, okay?
Yeah.
All is good. Okay, so tell me what happened when you had to evacuate. Tell me everything that happened to you and what you saw.
Well, I woke up this morning and I was planning on going to soccer at 11-ish. And I remember looking outside and there was a ton of smoke and it had gotten canceled because of wind and there wasn't fire yet that we knew about. And then somebody texted me and said that there was fire. So then we decided not to go. And I looked outside my house and I could see flames up on the hill. And then my whole family kind of was just talking and trying to figure out what to do. And we kind of just tried to pack up our stuff. And we have 2 dogs, so we brought them with us. But yeah.
And you're in a safe place now, you and your family?
Yeah, we went first to the beach. We went to our beach club, and then we had to go to one of our family friends' houses in the valley.
The other question I have for you is, have you had any information about your home? Has anyone been able to tell you, or have you seen any images anywhere to indicate whether your home is okay?
We're not really sure yet, but I know a ton of my close friends, I've seen photos of inside their houses and they're just completely destroyed. So that's really heartbreaking. And it's definitely moving closer towards my neighborhood. And a lot of my other friends' houses are just getting destroyed. And my school is also on fire right now. So, yeah.
What school is that, May?
I go to Palisades Charter High School.
Yes, you know what, I actually have in front of me a report that I was going to give in just a moment, but I will do it now, considering I've just discovered that this is your school. Flames have engulfed the campus of Palisades Charter High School, and firefighters are trying to save that school. May, I'm going to put my hands together in prayer for you and your school and your friends and your homes. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, sweetie. Thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's May Durkin again. She's 15 years old. She's had to evacuate, and her school is on the list in front of me that I am reporting on, Palisades Charter High School, which right now is engulfed in flames. The campus is engulfed in flames. I'm going to take a quick break, but when we come back after the break, I'm going to tell you what the president has said about this fire, what the feds are doing about this fire, and what that means for the people who may have lost everything. Back after this.
We're on Via de la Paz. You can see just behind us, there is a house completely up in flames. It's been burning for about 10 minutes since we've been here. And then if we can swing our camera around, I'm going to show you adjacent to that. The embers have now spread to this huge apartment building. The rooftop deck, it appeared to have caught fire first, and now it is burning down through this apartment or condominium building. So again, this is Via de la Paz. We are just a few blocks away from Palisades Village. We rode through that Caruso property, upscale shops there, Erewhon, Lululemon, many other shops and restaurants. It did not appear to be affected by the fire yet, but I can tell you fire is burning all around. Just as the photographer and I were driving up and down through the streets, we'd go through a block and it would be fine. We'd turn around and come back and we'd say, oh my goodness, look at that. That building is now on fire. The palm tree is now on fire. So in a moment here, things are changing very, very quickly. We've got one house off to the right of your screen, a complete loss. Now it appears the apartment building next door also will be a complete loss. These flames, they're just going so high into the air right now, probably 20 feet, 30 feet off the top of that apartment building. Add to that the intense winds that we've got here right now, and the fire is just going to continue to spread through these neighborhoods. Just a few moments ago, I noticed a car sitting in a driveway adjacent to that house that's on fire. I went up, there was a man inside that car, and I said, what are you doing? Why haven't you evacuated? He said he was actually coming here to check on his aunt's home. That's the home behind us. He said that she had lived here for about 40 years and that she was out of the country right now. That house is not affected by the fire yet, but it is extremely close. You can see the embers flying through the air, feel this intense wind right now, and just watch as this apartment building and this house sadly go up in flames. This is under the mandatory evacuation areas. Fire crews are on the scene, but we assume that everybody has gotten out of this area safely now. Chair?
Yeah, I'll take it here, Sandra. Thank you. And we can only hope that people are heeding the warnings and getting out. Should have done so already. We know there are at least a handful of people that are sticking around. Again, authorities urging you to get out while you still can. As we track the developments that are so fast moving in this Palisades fire, we want to also direct our attention to the Altadena area in Eaton Canyon. So that sits just north of Altadena, of course, just north of Pasadena. And I know that we've got a live picture from our Mount Wilson camera, as well as a photographer on the ground there. This fire that started at around 6:30, there's the live picture from Mount Wilson. This fire has exploded in size now in Eaton Canyon to 200 acres. It is growing. Evacuations are underway in the Altadena area. This is eerily reminiscent of the firestorm in Southern California in October of 2007. It was a serious Santa Ana wind event, and ultimately we saw a number of major fires erupt simultaneously across Southern California. We've been talking about the Palisades fire throughout the day, and now we're dealing with a situation here north of Altadena in Eaton Canyon, again with very powerful wind gusts as meteorologist Vera Jimenez continues to track the situation for us across Southern California. Vera, the winds in this area, now this fire burning in Eaton Canyon above Altadena, from the maps I've seen, the winds are coming down slope.
They are. But as you look at that live picture, Mike, you can see the flames through the tree there and the smoke coming out behind it. I was checking the winds in Eaton Canyon and around, just in that general vicinity, and all of the winds are clocking somewhere between 15 and 20 miles per hour. As we move out into some of the canyons there, the winds are a little bit stronger. We're taking a look at those winds, and they were like at 25 and 35 miles per hour. But here in this area, in the Eaton Canyon region, we're looking at winds of about, 15 to 20. And so as soon as I heard, I'm like, all right, let's take a look at the current observations there. And that's what we're looking at. It's incredible, the images that we're getting now, even as you saw between the tree branches.
Okay, I want to just jump in here while they're doing some local coverage there. You were just watching something very, very specific and very interesting. We've been talking about this massive fire in the Palisades where, 30,000 people were evacuating. There is a whole other fire on the other side of Los Angeles now. You were hearing them talk about Altadena and the Eaton Canyon fire. This is to the east and north of Los Angeles. Palisades is to the west, 20 miles west of Los Angeles. So this is completely different and new, and it is not small. It is now at 200 acres, and evacuations have now begun. Now we're talking about two massive emergencies, and look at this. Look at the windstorm and the embers and the damage. It's just terrifying. You just imagine if you live in this area, if you know someone who lives in this area, in the Los Angeles area, to see winds like that. And the winds, by the way, now are starting to really spike. They're headed up to 100 miles an hour. The predictions are for meteorologists throughout the night till 5 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. That is just a nightmare on every street corner when you think about those embers blowing. But again, the big news is that firefighters are into a whole new blaze called the Eaton Fire in Eaton Canyon in the San Gabriel Mountains above Altadena. Again, that is east and north of Los Angeles. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to take you through a bit more information, specifically some pictures of a bulldozer taking cars out where people just parked and ran for their lives. The bulldozer's trying to clear a path for firefighters. Back in a moment. Some of the pictures coming out of Los Angeles right now from our live cameras are just sort of astounding. I'm just giving them to you raw. We're going to be as careful as we can if there's something specific. I mean, the embers blowing across your screen are the bugaboo of the night. This is what is causing the fire to spread so rapidly in the 40 to 80 mile an hour gusts. And the predictions are that those gusts will be up to 100 miles per hour overnight. The worst is yet to come, is what we keep hearing, that the gusts are supposed to be at their worst from 10 p.m. Pacific, that's 1 a.m. Eastern, all the way through to 5 a.m. Pacific. Wow, imagine driving by that, which is 8 a.m. Eastern time. That is when the gusts are supposed to reach 100 miles per hour. All systems are go, all hands are on deck. Every Los Angeles firefighter has been called into action. Many surrounding communities, most assuredly, are already mobilizing and bringing what they can to help fight these fires. And I say fires plural now because we started the program, we started the day with nothing. And suddenly, this Palisades fire just exploded through these hot winds and the blowing embers into a massive fire where 30,000 people were evacuated from the Palisades. Suddenly, it started spreading eastwards towards Malibu and north to Calabasas, and a number of more evacuations. Firefighters, not enough trucks in the county and firefighters in the county to reach everyone. And even when they could, the folks who've been trying to evacuate down these single road egresses through these valleys and canyons simply could not. There was just a choking of traffic. People were at a standstill trying to get out, to the point where the fire got so bad they had to abandon their vehicles and just make a run for it. Then the firefighters could not get through the throng of abandoned vehicles. I mean, at this point, the advice was, please leave your keys with your vehicle if you're fleeing so that the firefighters can move them. And when they could not, the only option after that was to literally bring in bulldozers to move abandoned vehicles. I mean, this was just an incredible image from earlier today. While we still had light, the bulldozers had to come in, and all of these people who were stuck, literally stuck in their evacuation on both sides of the road, trying to get out, had to run for their lives and leave their vehicles on the road. Then the bulldozers came in to move these vehicles to try to get a pathway for the fire officials and the first responders to get through. It's just heartbreaking to see this, the terror and the panic and the desperation that those evacuees must have gone through. And now the worry that they don't know if fire officials could get to their homes. So far, thank God, we have not had any reports of anyone who's been killed. 30,000, though, ordered to leave, more than 80,000 now without power. They're cutting off power so as not to hopefully have sparks. These embers are bad enough, but the power lines, when they burst and spark, causing additional havoc, they've cut off the power to 80,000 people in the Los Angeles area. One of the people who was stuck trying to evacuate, trying to get her 95-year-old mom, the mom's caregiver, and her dogs to safety was Ellen Backer. She found herself in a standstill at Sunset Boulevard and Palisades Drive. And Ellen, I think you're with me now. We're watching live pictures from KTLA while I'm speaking to you. But Ellen, can you hear me? Ellen, are you there? Ellen Backer, can you hear me? I think we've got her, but she's just on mute. Yeah, she's getting her Zoom off of mute. And as soon as she does, we'll be able to get Ellen's story. But Ellen was going to get her 95-year-old mom and found herself stuck, like a lot of those cars I was showing you before. And she could hear the police officers screaming for people to just get out of those cars and run for your life. Ellen, can you hear me yet?
Yes, I can. Sorry about the muting.
Okay.
Good evening.
Great. No problem. I can understand the day you've had, so you can be forgiven for a mere mute violation, what happens to us all the time. I told our viewers a little bit about the beginning of your evacuation. You left your, downtown LA to get your mom, I think in the Palisades area, right? And found yourself just jammed in traffic.
Yes, it took 2 hours to get back.
Okay, so take me from there. Tell me what happened.
From what point? I'm sorry. From what point?
From the point where you left LA to get your 95-year-old mom and her caregiver and the dogs. First of all, did you get them? Were you able to get them?
Yes, we're sitting in my daughter's house in Long Beach now after about a 6-7 hour day of them being under shelter up in the Highlands community where we live. I was at the bottom of the hill for the 4 or 5 hours, not knowing what was going on, and the fire was continually. Embers were flying. The firehouse was on fire. It was coming down Sunset. It was going to the ocean. It was jumping all over the place. And the community I live in, I've lived in for 38 years, and it's the Highlands section, and it's magnificent. We always knew there's always one way in and one way out, but we always had a fire lane. The problem with this particular fire is the fire lane was on fire and the bottom of Palisades Drive was on fire. So most people were trapped up in the Highlands. At that point, there was many fire trucks and they were doing their best. And at one point when they said that obviously people could come down, that's where all those, the cars came down and obviously they were running and abandoning their cars. I, on the other hand, I was hoping to get up into the Highlands to get my mom and her caregiver and the 2 dogs. And I was stopped right before Palisades Drive. And I assumed that if I had some patience, they'd let me up to evacuate them. And I didn't have to wait too long. And 8 policemen came, and there must have been 50, 60 cars. And we were all gridlocked there. And they said, get out of your car, run for your life, go to the ocean. So that was the story on that. So it doesn't matter. And I don't know if my home's fine or not up in the Highlands, but I have no idea if I have a car or not, or I'm part of the towing or the whatever it is. But anyway, it was very harrowing. And it's amazing that all that I kept thinking of was 9/11. Having been on the East Coast when it happened, surely not near it, but I was in Midtown in my business 20-some years ago. And I just felt that what came over me as I was running, what were these people doing for 9/11? And I just kind of felt, surely not part of that, but I just kind of thought, wow, this is really real. And as I said, the fire trucks, the firemen, they do everything to risk their lives. And it's a force of nature. And the winds were just blowing and blowing. And at one point, the fire was in all directions. I personally didn't get my mother and my caregiver. I stayed at the gas station for about 4 hours, and my best friend called me and said, I'm going to try to get them down the hill for you. And she surely did. And then at that point, I thought, what am I doing? Because I don't have a car. I don't know if my car is, torched or whatever. So fast forward, we ended up in Santa Monica. An Uber driver came, and an hour and 45 minutes later, we're in Long Beach at my daughter's home and feeling safe and hoping everyone in the Highlands and Pacific Palisades and all around, can be safe tonight. It's terrible fires are. I saw it in front of my eyes of how quick things change, but right now we're safe.
It's true. It's true. If I've heard one thing the most tonight, it's that it's the apocalypse. And then the other thing I've heard is that people said, we thought we had more time. And I think your story about leaving your keys in your ignition and getting out and running is just the story of this fire for so many people like you. Ellen, please give our best to your family, to your mom, her caregiver. Give a snuggle to those dogs, and be so happy that you got the most important possessions in your life. I hope everything works out for you. I'm praying that you'll have good news. Thank you so much for telling us your story.
And thank you. And thank you for reporting it.
Ellen Bacher joining us and telling us that the fire lanes were on fire. I've told you multiple times tonight, part of the problem with so many of these canyons and these hills is that it's like one road in, one road out. And Ellen Bacher just told us that was the problem for her as well. One road in, one road out to the Highlands section. They have a fire lane, but that the fire lanes were on fire. And that just tells you the hellscape that they're dealing with. I want to go to Dr. Chad Hansen. He's a California wildfire scientist and a forest and fire ecologist. Dr. Hansen, can you hear me?
I can.
I can only imagine. I don't know your line of work, but I do know the pictures I'm seeing and the blowing embers that I've been watching all night, and the meteorologist's reports that these gusts are expected to go to 100 miles an hour tonight. None of that is good news.
It's not. This is the most extreme kind of fire weather that we experience. And, these Santa Ana winds in Southern California in the fall and early winter, this is when it happens. And we get these bone dry conditions and extreme wind gusts. And that can drive flames very, very intensely and very rapidly.
Dr. Hansen, I'm doing some updated notes here, so forgive me while I look away from the camera and just sort of read the material that I'm getting in. Parts of Santa Monica are now under evacuation order. We've been reporting on the Palisades throughout much of the night where 30,000 people were evacuated. Suddenly, another report came in about an Eaton fire, which is 35 to 40 miles away from this to the east and north and east of Los Angeles, where yet again, hundreds of acres are on fire. And I'm just sort of wondering, what science can people like you lend to firefighters when you have winds like this, which literally can take embers anywhere?
Yeah, this is really key. And I know the Eden Canyon area well. I grew up hiking there. And so, there's steep topography and there's a lot of homes at risk there too. A number of folks have commented, that there are places where the firefighters just aren't engaging the fire. And, that's the right thing to do in these conditions. The firefighters are focusing on trying to save lives and homes. They're doing evacuation assistance. They're doing structure defense. They're really focused on public safety. And that's the right thing to do, because when you have 60-mile-an-hour winds, 40-mile-an-hour winds, 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts in these bone-dry conditions, you can't stop those fires. These are weather and climate events. But what we can do is get people out safely, people and their animals. We can save homes if we take certain steps and if we focus our priorities there.
Yeah, and I mean, I sort of wonder, look, meteorologists do their best, but these winds are whipping. And again, at 100 miles an hour, my assumption is that embers can be taken a long way, but how long can an ember be dangerous, and just how far should people in the Los Angeles area be concerned at this point?
Well, embers can be driven by winds by a mile, even 2 miles in advance of the flames. So they can go long ways, sometimes even farther, but it's very common to go a half a mile or even more. And this is one of the unpredictable factors in fires like this. When you get the winds with these gusts that are extreme and the winds are swirling, they can move embers in just about any direction. And so you get new fires starting quite some distance from the main flaming front. And so again, if we focus on public safety, and that really seems to be what the firefighters and the first responders are doing, and that's the right thing to do. That is exactly right, because they can't, you can't fight a fire like this. It's like you're trying to fight the wind, and you can't fight the wind. But what we can do, what we have control over, is trying to make communities fire safe in advance of fire season, and then when fires happen, focusing on public safety and structure defense.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Hansen, I'm really glad you said this, because that has been a constant report tonight, is that everything's burning behind me and I can't see firefighters anywhere. They're trying to save lives, best they can before getting the flames out. So listen, I really appreciate you, reiterating that and bringing that to the forefront. At this point, this is a crisis of human proportions. It's important to find those who need to be found, and then obviously battle this fire. And hopefully it's not going to jump even more communities after tonight. We're at 2 massive fires at this point. I just want to reiterate that Eaton fire is up to 200 acres, or at least it was about 15 to 30 minutes ago, 200 acres in the Eaton fire north and east of Los Angeles. Many of the images I've been showing you have been from Palisades, west and south of Los Angeles. So the images are they're coming in from everywhere. It is literally a fire that seems to be everywhere at this point. I do want to let you know that if you're a NewsNation watcher, we are going to put KTLA coverage on our signal all throughout the night. So there'll be live coverage of this crisis all night long. Thanks to our partners, our partners at Nexstar, KTLA, our local friends and partners in Los Angeles. They're doing an incredible. In fact, I want to just listen in for a bit because they're covering both of these fires. So let's listen in.
And I spoke with a very good friend of mine who lives in Altadena, and he said that he had not gotten an official evacuation at that point, but he is going to leave anyway because he doesn't want to take any chances. And he also told me that the smoke was so thick that it was almost impossible to see anything on the ground.
Yeah, if you haven't left, you're urged to do so. And if you haven't received the order, you will be shortly, as firefighters are dealing with an uphill battle here to try and protect structures in Altadena. And the faster you can get out, the better chance they have of protecting the property in this area adjacent to Eaton Canyon, as this fire has now erupted to over 200 acres. Firefighters on scene, an enormous response underway here as we watch now the second fire of this Santa Ana wind event, second major fire erupting here in Southern California. Larry Welk, thanks for taking the time. Be safe, and we'll be in touch down the road.
You got it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Larry. Good to hear from you. Be safe. Yeah. And we now want to go to Sam Cortese. She's got an update for us when it comes to the Pacific Palisades. Sam?
Sharon, Micah, while you were on the phone there, the city of Santa Monica has issued an evacuation order for all areas north of San Vicente. This is creeping closer and closer to such a densely populated area of Santa Monica that it's really hard to believe that we're seeing this message. The city of Santa Monica said this is an immediate threat to life. Leave now. Close to the public. Again, the city of Santa Monica within the last 10 minutes said all areas of the city north of San Vicente need to evacuate now. Sharon, Micah, this fire in the Palisades is growing, spreading toward Calabasas, toward Santa Monica. And as we keep on saying, we just fear for what this will look like come 10 o'clock tonight, as those winds are expected to get much worse.
You talk about the situation in Santa Monica, and as we've been talking about the evacuation warning stretching all the way to Calabasas,
right.
You've got resources, and again, we've said this, world-class firefighting response here with mutual aid, with all the different resources and the preparation, but Mother Nature holds the cards, frankly, and,
right.
and she's playing quite a hand tonight.
Micah, I think you called it the Great Pacific Barrier, because now the fire is just getting to the ocean where it has nowhere to go. I have friends who left rather late from Malibu, and they sent me photos of the fire creeping across PCH, reaching the ocean in Malibu. And just that thought matched with what's going on in Santa Monica, north of San Vicente, getting evacuated right now. This is scary stuff.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that everyone's okay. Rachel, Jean, Lauren, all of our reporters who are out there, Sandra, just doing such a great job getting the word out, because earlier today, as I know you all were watching, it was chaos. It was chaos with people trying to evacuate quickly, and perhaps luckily that sent a message to everyone on the outskirts of this fire to get ready to go.
Yeah, and really, it's no matter where you live. We are not immune from this. There was even a brush fire in the Hollywood Hills this morning,
right.
And luckily they were able to put that out quite fast. But you have to have your go bag. You've got to be ready, set, go, no matter what, because these are the times.
Jumping in here again, this is Ashleigh Banfield at NewsNation. We've been dipping in and out of our KTLA partners' coverage in Los Angeles as these wildfires just ravage entire communities and jump dozens of miles away to start new fires. You might have just heard this expression. I think it might be the expression of the night. Thank God for the Great Pacific Barrier, because once that fire reaches the water, the Pacific Ocean, it's got nowhere else to go. but there is so much in the way and so many people in the way. We continue our coverage in just a moment.
Next, Nick. Are we going to Carlos? All right. Carlos is in the Palisades area. Now, what do you have?
We're coming in on live pictures here of something that is just harrowing. It is the rescue of what looks to be people rescuing horses in this terrifying fire. I can't tell you whether this is Palisades or Pasadena or Santa Monica or Altadena, because this fire is jumping everywhere at this point. But this is live, as you see. Oh, God, this is so upsetting, because you can see one of those horses wasn't lassoed. So I hope that they get to them all. They are trying to rescue everyone at this point. I can tell you that in the Pasadena and Altadena area, there are mandatory evacuations, and this is what authorities were telling people there. There is an immediate threat to life. It is simply apocalyptic. It is the word of the night. We are now roughly 3,000 acres or so just in the Pasadena, or just in the Palisades area. Clearly, thousands more acres elsewhere. We are going to continue our NewsNation coverage all night long, live, with the help of our KTLA partners in Los Angeles. So stay tuned.
Downtown Los Angeles, which is very. To look at the update for now, we'll be back in just a little bit more with more weather updates.
Thank you, Vera. Now at 8 o'clock, a fast-moving, wind-driven wildfire burning in the Pacific Palisades area at this hour. Dozens of homes have been damaged or destroyed. An estimated 30,000 people are under evacuation orders in that fire, and a new fire, the Eaton Fire, has broken out above Altadena. Good evening to you once again. I'm Micah Ullman.
And I'm Cher Calvin. A quick program note for our viewers. WWE NXT, which would normally air right tonight, has been rescheduled.